Instructions for Safoco hydraulic override. The Safoco hydraulic override is operated by application of hydraulic pressure on the internal piston to force the actuator stem down to the open position. Upon loss of hydraulic pressure to the override, the valve will close from its spring and any pressure in the bore. First, find the correct adapter to match the actuator's threads. Each adapter is marked with the thread pitch. Thread the adapter to the boss thread on top of the actuator. Secure with the 2 set screws using the provided T-handle hex key. Note: do not force the adapter to thread onto the actuator boss. It should thread easily unless the boss is damaged or the wrong thread pitch. Remove the red transport sealing cap from the reservoir. Install the black vent cap on the reservoir. Stow the red cap in the transport case. Note: do not discard transport cap. This is required for repacking, transport, and storage of the pump. Also note that the pump uses Dexron 3 or later automatic transmission fluid. Remove pump assembly from the transport case. Use 2 persons to mount the pump to a 90-degree section of rail using the supplied U-bolts. Warning: do not drop pump, U-bolts, or flange nuts overboard. Remove the lock cap from the override. If the cap is stuck, connect the hose to the override to relieve any trapped pressure from thermal expansion. Warning: a pipe wrench may be used only if the hose is connected and the dump valve on the pump is opened. Open the dump valve on the pump using the pump handle, turning counterclockwise. Verify that hydraulic pressure is 0 psi on the gauge. Warning: do not attempt to make or break hydraulic connections with pressure in the hose. Always verify that there is 0 psi by checking the gauge. Connect the hose to the override using the quick connect fittings. Note: the quick connect coupler on the override has a locking collar. Rotate the collar so the notch in the base does not align with the detent ball. This prevents an accidental disconnect. Drive piston upward by pushing the override housing down on the pump handle. The top shaft should rise. A second person may be helpful to support the pump handle in the upright position. Note: do not slam the override onto the pump handle. Firm pressure is all that is needed. Slide override over actuator top shaft. Disconnect the hose to allow the override to be rotated clockwise until it is threaded fully on the previously installed adapter. Note: mark position of override and adapter relative to the actuator with a paint pen to ensure the devices stay aligned during use. Turn the power switch to the on position on the battery case for the pressure switch. Note: pressure switch uses a 9-volt battery. Reconnect the hose to the override. Tighten the dump valve by turning it clockwise with the pump handle. Pump until the pressure reaches at least 1,500 psi. Note: the orange LED light on top of the pressure switch will illuminate once the pressure exceeds 1,500 psi. If the light goes out, then the override requires additional pumping to restore the hydraulic pressure. To allow the valve to close, use the pump handle to rotate the dump valve counterclockwise. This will exhaust the hydraulic pressure back to the reservoir. Removing and repacking the override assembly. When removing the override, ensure that the gauge at the pump reads 0 psi. Disconnect the hose and rotate the override counterclockwise from the adapter. Reconnect the hose and push down on the top shaft with a firm hand until it is flush with the top of the override boss. Replace the lock cap. Disconnect the hose and place override in the transport case. Loosen the grub screws and remove the adapter from the actuator. Replace the plastic thread protector and place in the transport case. Replace the vent cap on the reservoir with the red transport cap. Turn off power switch to pressure switch's LED light. Place the pump in the transport case. Replace the T-handle hex key and the hose in the transport case.